tornado down with this storm. All right, so look at the couplet now. This thing is likely producing a tornado right now. Let's look at the new information. 155-mile-an-hour gate-to-gate shear. So this is an extremely dangerous situation for Jefferson County. If you are in Fultondale, get in a safe place now. Again, I can't stress the urgency of this. The radar site's just south of Birmingham. We're sampling wind not far off the ground, so we're looking at 155-mile-an-hour gate-to-gate shear. That is an intense tornado. If that is down on the ground, that is an intense tornado. So if you're in Fultondale on I-65, get in a safe place now. If you are in Terrence, safe place now. If you are in Center Point or Graysville or Clay. So here's Highway 204 that runs into 21 in downtown Jacksonville. We got an extremely tight couplet right here of clear up, and there's your area rotation right there. The National Weather Service watching this carefully as well as we were over the past 10 to 15 minutes. Look at that. Goodness, I think there's likely a tornado down right now that is coming up on Mossboro, so we need you in a safe place immediately. Let's look at the debris signature. All right, don't see it yet, but I can tell you with high confidence there's likely a tornado down. Look at the velocity. And look at the couplet there. This thing's just south of Turner. That is the Jefferson County line up there. And there it is. Wow, look at that. There's a confirmed tornado that is on the ground right now just west of Carrollton doing damage. We need you out of a trailer. Listen to me. If you're in a mobile home, manufactured home, in a car, get out. Do not take a chance for this. This is a serious situation. We got a tornado down. It's going to be coming up on Coal Fire and Reform. If you are in Coal Fire or Reform, we got a tornado right there that is down on the west side of Carrollton by about a mile or two from downtown Carrollton. Again, this is going to be very close to Stanzel. That's your tornado. It's on the ground. We know it's there. Well, hello to you, Richard Scott, Chief Meteorologist for WVUA 23 over in Tuscaloosa. Hey, it's obvious we have a lot of tornadoes in Alabama. Doesn't really matter where you are in Alabama, so I kind of zoomed into our local area in Tuscaloosa and just show you this because this says everything, and this is why we take tornadoes serious and then why we take tornado warnings very serious here in Alabama, because a lot can go wrong and really a heartbeat. Things can change in just a matter of a second. So this is Tuscaloosa. This is the number of tornadoes since 1920. All right, each one of these represents a different tornado. The color is the rating of the tornado. You see EF5 in black, EF4 in pink, and then red EF3 and so forth. And if you look in the Tuscaloosa Northport area, had one EF5 back in 1966 there in Northport at Tuscaloosa. We've had several EF4 or F4 type of tornadoes over the years since 1920, and obviously what we call the big one for Tuscaloosa in the Birmingham area, the April 27th, the 2011 tornado, that was an EF4, almost an EF5, moved right through the heart of Tuscaloosa and the north side of Birmingham, and produced a tremendous amount of damage and fatalities with that. So obviously we have issues with tornadoes here in Alabama, not just in the Tuscaloosa area. So let's talk about why we have severe weather here. First off, we've got the Gulf of Mexico down there to the south, and that is fuel for that unstable air. It gets here easily, very quickly. We're in Alabama, we're low latitude. That heat is close by, and if you have a low pressure northeast or northwest of you, you will get this warm air. It comes right off the Gulf of Mexico. And on top of that, we have to have cold air. So not only is it's got to be warm and unstable down here, the ground where we live. You go up several thousand feet, it's got to be cold, and that's what we call creates instability. That is unstable air. Not only that, we've got to have winds that change speed and direction. The higher in altitude you go, winds have to change direction. So as these thunderstorms grow and blossom in this unstable atmosphere, they begin to spin and rotate, and then you spawn tornadoes. And we see that very common in the spring months, especially here in Alabama. Our peak tornado season, by the way, is March, April, and early May in Alabama. We can have tornadoes any time of the year. That is our peak where we see the most typically violent type of tornadoes. And let's talk about this because I know there's some confusion with this, and maybe some of you know exactly what all this means, and I'm just kind of refreshing your memory of this, I guess you could say. But a tornado watch, that means conditions are favorable for tornadoes. That's when the ingredients are there. It hasn't necessarily occurred yet, but that's where the ingredients are there for a tornado to develop. Tornado warning, that's go time. That's when a tornado is down or radar indicated. Either we see it on Doppler radar velocity or correlation coefficient, or we've got somebody there that actually sees a tornado with their eyes and they're reporting that to us. So whenever you see that tornado warning, that's when things get critical. That's when it's very important. So what do you do? So if we have a tornado warning, seek shelter, site-built structure. You got to get out of a mobile home, out of a car. We tell people that all the time. It only takes an EF1 tornado, which is very low on the scale. That's relatively a weak tornado to destroy a mobile home, to lift a car, to toss a car. So we tell people site-built structure, our storm shelter, basement, always a great place to go. Wear a bike helmet. That can protect your head. The brain is the most important part of your body. Without your brain, you can't function. You got to have that. So wear a bike helmet. Protect your brain. Protect your head. That is critical for a tornado, and that's been known to save lives. Most tornadoes occur again in the spring and fall. We have 2 seasons here in Alabama. We got the fall tornado season, November and December. Again, we can have tornadoes any time of the year, but the peak is in the fall and in the spring. That's when that battle zone happens in the air masses. That's when things become more volatile and unstable, typically here in Alabama. The scale we talk about, we reference a lot, EF0. That's a relatively weak tornado, but understand all tornadoes are dangerous. But 0 is the low end of the scale. EF5, that's the most violent tornadoes, and we do occasionally get those. Fortunately, most tornadoes here in Alabama are the weak ones. They're your EF0, EF1 type of tornadoes, but you saw on the map there, here in the Tuscaloosa area, we can see violent tornadoes. It's happened over and over and over again. Let's talk about severe thunderstorms, and this is something, you know, people don't really focus a lot about because we're so complacent when it comes to severe thunderstorm warnings. I mean, think about it. We get them all the time. You see a severe thunderstorm warning, there's one in the area, most likely you're not going to do anything about it, and that's just being honest. I understand. You see severe thunderstorm warnings all the time, you get complacent about it. But they can be dangerous and they can be deadly. Falling trees and power lines is a big deal during a severe thunderstorm warning. Winds at 58 miles an hour or stronger, that's what you got to have. That's the criteria for the National Weather Service to issue that particular warning. Got to have quarter-size hail or larger. Doesn't have anything to do with lightning. You know, during the summertime, storms produce a tremendous amount of lightning. Doesn't have to do anything to do with that. It's got to be 1-inch hail or larger or 58-mile-an-hour winds, or it's producing a tornado. At that point, we would issue a tornado warning. So again, similar conditions to a tornado watch. Conditions favorable for severe weather, for severe thunderstorm warning being issued when a storm's actively producing that criteria. Again, 58-mile-an-hour winds are stronger, a quarter-size hail or larger. So again, as always, let's talk about lightning. You know, lightning is not a severe criteria, it's not a severe classification, but it is a deadly weather killer. And, you know, we take this for granted. If you hear thunder, even if you're 10 miles away from the storm, the sun could be shining where you are. If you hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. And by the way, I don't care what your grandmama said, heat lightning is not real. We hear that all the time. If you see a distant thunderstorm off in the summertime and you see the lightning, you don't hear the thunder, well, that's heat lightning. Well, heat lightning doesn't exist. All right. That is a wives' tale. So heat lightning is not real. The only problem is the storm's too far away for you to hear the thunder. If it's more than 25, 30 miles away, you're not going to hear the thunder. You'll see the lightning, but you just won't hear the thunder. If you drive down the road to that thunderstorm, I promise it will be regular old lightning. All right, enough on a tangent on that. If you hear thunder, go indoors. Always a good reminder. And hey, I've got to plug our social media sites. We update this all the time when it comes to severe weather, Facebook and Twitter. We stream online and on TV. So if you get a tornado warning in your area, we'll be here for you for that as well. All right, since I've got you here, let's take you on a tour. Let's check it out. All right, here is the grand tour. Show you around our studio if you haven't ever been to our TV station. I do weather in front of that thing, a big green wall, and you know, the cool thing about it, everything that's green is taken out, replaced by our weather map, so you see that up there instead of the green wall, and whenever I step in front of it, hey, here I am. So you see me on there, and I'll zoom in so you can see. I'm standing in front of it, just a green screen, but what you see is actually the map itself on TV, but what I see is this big green wall. This thing's huge. They give me plenty of room to walk around. And so I look at this camera whenever I'm doing weather. So, hello. That's what I'm looking at. It's this camera here. You see the words up here. That's called a teleprompter. And the news anchors read that thing. You know, I don't read a script when it comes to weather. It changes so much. By the time I wrote a script, it would change. But the news anchors, they got so many specific things they got to remember and talk about in detail. And, you know, it's just no way they can memorize every little thing. That's their anchor desk. That's our other cameras in our studio, and over here is the weather center. And look, I know this thing's a mess. Boss man's been on to me about cleaning this thing up, but one day I'll get to it. Spent a lot of time over here, especially during severe weather. Our graphics computer, we build all the maps each day. Every single map you see on air is what I build, put together. So again, these are forecast graphics, and basically whatever is important to you is what we put on TV. Use computer model data to figure out the forecast. We've got cameras all over the place that can kind of give us a window view of what's happening outside. We're in Bryant-Denny Stadium, which is pretty cool, but the bad thing is I don't have any windows. It's all walled in our studios, so I can't see what's happening outside, so it's kind of nice to have that. This is our control room, and we're getting ready for one of our newscasts. Hello. And we've got a lot of students from University of Alabama that come in here and work, and sometimes you see them on TV. They're also working behind the scenes, so you don't get to see that. This is our director's board, and our director, they know exactly what to do to put us on TV. So right now we're watching the Bama basketball game. And again, that was earlier. Here's my forecast graphics there you saw on TV. And yeah, all this stuff here, they know exactly what to punch up to change whatever goes on TV. They can select anything from the monitors up here. And that's how that works.
This is our audio board. This is how we make sure that you hear what you hear. Right now, we are listening to the basketball game. Now we are not listening to the basketball game.
Nice.
That's how that works. Make sure your buttons are on, your volumes are up. And that's how it works. We play our music from here, our animations, and our anchors, and that's how you can hear Richard Scott whenever he's doing the weather.
This is our newsroom, and we've got people that work behind the scenes you don't really see on TV. There's Tamika. She anchors our 10 o'clock news. Hey, Tamika. And again, they got the basketball game on. Yeah. All right.
Roll Tide?
Yeah, Roll Tide. Well, hey, I got to run. Hope you guys enjoyed the tour and the visit. I've got to run, get ready for the news. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you around.